Good evening and welcome to our June City Council meeting. We're glad to have everybody here. Thank you for joining us. We always like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, so we'll ask Gary Harris if he'll come forward and lead us in the pledge.
Present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. And at this time, we invite you to join us in a moment of silence where you can reflect, prepare for the meeting, or use it for silent prayer. Thank you all very much. Council, you all have the minutes from the May 13th meeting. Are there any changes, or do we have a motion to approve as submitted?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. And did you want to abstain?
Yep, I
Okay.
abstain.
Okay. At this time, we will open the floor for citizen comments on public matters. We ask that you come down to the podium. Please use the microphone, state your name for the record, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Seeing no one making a mad dash to the podium, we will close the citizen comments on public matters portion of the meeting and move on to some proclamations. You know, June and into July has a lot of wonderful things that we love to celebrate, honor, and recognize here in our community. And I can't think of a better thing to start with than Flag Day, which is coming up on June 14th. And Seth, I believe you have a proclamation for us.
Proclamation Flag Day 2024. Whereas we celebrate the enduring strength and promise that the stars and stripes on our flag have always embodied as they fly proudly across our country and the world. And whereas our flag tells America's story, it is an emblem of strength at home and abroad, synonymous with America as a force for good in the world. And whereas the flag stands for hope, pride, and progress, it waves for justice and equality, and it reinforces the promise of our democracy. And whereas our flag embodies the very soul of America, a soul that has endured because of sacrifices made by generations of Americans whose mission we must keep alive to ensure democracy endures. The Stars and Stripes belongs to all Americans and reminds us that much more unites us than divides us. Now, therefore, the city of Radford, Virginia, does hereby proclaim June 14th, 2024 as Flag Day in the city of Radford, and encourage the people of Radford to observe the day with pride as a time to honor the American spirit, to celebrate our history and the foundational values we strive to uphold. Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a motion to approve this proclamation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. And we are so thankful for Flag Day, but we thought that this year it might make sense to do an additional proclamation in conjunction with our Flag Day proclamation. So if I may have the honor, we would like to have a proclamation honoring guardians of the United States flag. Whereas the flag of the United States of America is one of the core symbols of our nation's heritage, history, honor, and ideals, and whereas to preserve, protect, and proudly display our flag, our community needs organizations and individuals who focus on that effort. And whereas VFW Post 776 was founded in Radford in 1944, comprised entirely of eligible veterans and military service members from the active Guard, and Reserve forces, with a mission to foster camaraderie among veterans who have served overseas, to serve veterans, military, and communities, to advocate for all veterans, and to ensure veterans are respected and recognized for their service and sacrifices. And whereas American Legion Harvey Howe Carper Post 30 was founded in Radford in 1919 as a patriotic veterans organization devoted to mutual helpfulness, mentoring youth, and sponsorship of wholesome programs in our communities, advocating patriotism and honor, promoting strong national security, and continued devotion to our fellow service members and veterans. And whereas VFW Post 776, led by Commander Gary Harris, and American Legion Harvey Howe Carper Post 30, led by Commander Richard Lickman, served the Radford community in many ways including working with the display of the United States flag throughout the city. And whereas any time new United States flags are needed, these individuals and organizations are quick to serve and support. And whereas this service is greatly appreciated and advances patriotic pride in Radford. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and the Radford City Council that all citizens commend and recognize VFW Post 776 and American Legion Harvey Howe Carper Post 30 for their dedication to the city of Radford and patriotic display of flag across the community and acknowledge their service as guardians of the United States flag. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this proclamation. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Gary, would you come forward? Come on down. Thank you for all that you have done to help have flags throughout our community. You know, I was thinking about this earlier this year when there was a need for a flag and you had jumped to it, got a pole put in place, and got us taken care of, and we wanted to say thank you. I always love the time around Flag Day because it's wonderful to see that symbol of America out and about all throughout the community, and it's great anytime we can have those flags out. June is also a very important month for freedom in another way. Juneteenth, June 19th, is a nationally recognized holiday to commemorate African American freedom and the ending of slavery in the United States. That is also a holiday in the Commonwealth of Virginia now, which it had not been previously. The day emphasizes education achievement as well as a continued focus on addressing racial injustices in our society. Jesse, do you have a proclamation for us?
Do you want me to?
No, Kelly, sorry. I got my proclamations out of order. Yeah, Kelly has it.
Okay. City of Radford Proclamation for Juneteenth, 2024. Whereas Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, Liberation Day, and Emancipation Day, is a holiday celebrating the emancipation of those who have been enslaved in the United States. And whereas on June 19, 1865, General Gordon Granger announced that slaves in Texas were free by order of the President of the United States. The announcement came 2.5 years after President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, which had become official January 1, 1863. And whereas freedmen in Texas organized the first of what became the annual celebration of Jubilee Day on June 19th. And whereas June 19th has a special meaning to African Americans and is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated by the African American community for over 150 years. And whereas the City of Radford encourages everyone to observe Juneteenth as an opportunity to reflect, rejoice, and plan for a brighter future as we continue to address racial injustices in our society today. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and Radford City Council that June 19, 2024 be known as Juneteenth in the City of Radford, and we urge everyone to become more aware of the significance of this celebration in African American history and in the heritage of our nation and our city. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept this proclamation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is a wonderful holiday. I'm not sure of what will be happening here in the city. I haven't heard of specific plans, but I'm sure something will be going on. And I know that Christiansburg Institute typically does a wonderful celebration, as that was the high school for our African American students for really a significant amount of time up until the mid-1960s. Radford has always participated and been a part of that, and I encourage folks to get out and participate. June is also Pride Month. It's recognized nationally to recognize the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in New York advancing the LGBTQ movement and self-affirmation. And Jesse, I believe you have this proclamation.
I do have this one. City of Radford Proclamation, Pride Month 2024. Whereas Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Pride Month is celebrated each year in the month of June to commemorate the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan, New York, which sparked the movement for LGBTQ equality. And whereas Pride celebrations have evolved to highlight the modern LGBTQ rights movement, and whereas the purpose of this commemorative month is to recognize the hardships faced by the LGBTQ community, as well as the impact that LGBTQ individuals have had on history locally, nationally, and internationally. And whereas Pride is a celebration of all LGBTQ community members who are an important part of the diverse tapestry of individuals and families that make up the City of Radford, and whereas the City of Radford recognizes that the struggle for equality and acceptance for LGBTQ people is advanced by the dedication of advocates and allies who promote tolerance as well as inclusion, and whereas the City of Radford continues to work towards becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential, and whereas Pride Month encourages self-acceptance, tolerance, and open-mindedness, now therefore the City of Radford does hereby recognize the month of June 2024 as Pride Month in the City of Radford and encourages Radford residents of all sexual orientations and gender identities to celebrate and reflect on the vital role Pride plays in a building of the community that is stronger, more diverse, and welcoming to all. Council, I make a motion that we accept this proclamation.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Okay. The ayes have it, and we hope that people are able to learn more and experience Pride Month. I know there was an event on Friday evening that took place along Main Street, and I believe down in the park as well. We have a lot of wonderful things happening in the City of Radford, including one of our very favorite activities throughout the year, the Spirit of America celebration. Greg Holbrook, our Director of Parks and Recreation, is here to tell us all the wonderful things we can look forward to. Greg, come on down to the podium.
Thank you. We have a great event scheduled for the 4th. We'll begin the day at 1 o'clock with our DJ, Scott Freeman from 98.1. We'll do a pre-registration for a dog show. This is new that we're doing this year. Beginning at 2 o'clock, we'll have a dog show, which will have 3 categories. The dog costume that will be most patriotic for the 4th. The second one would be the master and the dog dressed most patriotic. And the third event will be dogs that did the most exciting tricks there. So we think that'll be a big plus for us, and we're looking forward to that. At 3:30, we have our live bands begin. At 3:30 is the Cat 5 band that's been here before. They do a nice job, different types of music. I think you'll enjoy it. At 5 o'clock will be our opening ceremony with Mayor Horton speaking to the crowd and welcoming everybody for our events that day and our 4th. We'll have all kinds of vendors, arts and crafts, a lot of food vendors. So come hungry, be able to have a good hot dog, barbecue, hamburgers, whatever it may be. And then at 5 o'clock, right after opening ceremonies, Chief's officers will do our canine demonstration again. It's always exciting to watch that, to see how our dogs that help our officers daily protect them and the citizens of Radford. So looking forward to that. After that, we'll have our national anthem. 5:30, Motown Review will come on. That's a Motown band that plays a lot of Motown music that's very popular. That's been here before as well. And then at 7:30, we have a beach band that probably a lot of people have heard of them before, the Embers. That's played in this area, Roanoke, Carolinas, for many years and very popular. At 9:15, we will begin our fireworks. And this year, we're doing something a little different. We've worked with Grucci and the radio station. During the fireworks, we'll be playing patriotic music, a lot of different songs that will touch everybody's heart, I hope, with our songs. They'll play it at the gazebo, and also, if you're up, not in the park, you can tune in to 98.1 on your dial in your car and listen to the patriotic music as the fireworks begins to go off. We'll have shuttle buses all day from 4 to 10 coming and going, so you can come. We have a good group of our games this year, a lot of inflatables that the kids love. We have 2 mechanical bulls, so I'd like to see all of y'all try to.
I've done it before and got bucked right off, so yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. We also have very popular, according to Dave's Moonwalk Games, is axe throwing. Now, he promised me that this is going to be a safe event there, that'll be done so nobody. No accidents there. So altogether, it should be a fun day. Keep our fingers crossed that we have good weather, and looking forward to seeing each and every one of you out for this great day.
Greg, it sounds wonderful. Thank you. How do people get in touch with you for the dog show? What do they need to do?
They can pre-register that day, or they can call the Parks and Rec and let us know that they're wanting to participate.
I think that's going to be super popular. So thrilled that you're bringing it back.
Yep.
That's going to be wonderful, and it sounds like we have a fantastic day planned.
Yep, should be fun.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Okay, at this time, we are going to conduct a public hearing for an amendment to the 2024, or the current fiscal year we're in, 2024 school board budget. And because the schools have received some additional money, they need to increase their budget from $39,194,498 to $42,842,281. That's state and federal grants which support school operations, projects with innovations, violence prevention, technology, and all-in implementation. Capital projects as well, and governor's school funding. So the board is requesting an additional $200,000 from the Capital Reserve Fund for the Stadium Bleachers project, which we're going to take care of with the city, where we work that out, where the overages go into a Capital Reserve Fund for the school, and that's available for that. And that also includes the classroom upgrades, McCarg's ADA sidewalk upgrades, and HVAC controls at Bell Heath. $123,000 for school violence prevention, for a total of $323,488, plus all the additional pieces. So this amendment to the budget was approved by the school board on April the 9th. And at this time, we will open the public hearing to see if anybody has any questions or comments related to this adjustment. If you have anything, please come down to the podium, state your name for the record. Seeing no one, we will go on and close the public hearing for the school board budget amendment and move on to our new business. So under new business, we have ordinance 1807, which is for the Fairview home. This is a
Yeah.
I thought we were going to, I'm sorry, I thought we were going to do that later. I guess we can do it now. Okay, because the total exceeded the amount of the school board budget, we have to, it exceeds 1% of the original city budget appropriation. We had to have the public hearing. And as such, do we have a motion to adopt the school board budget amendment?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. I thought I was going to handle that later, but that works now. Ordinance 1807 for the Fairview home is a property lease on 10 acres on Hatcher Road near the high school, and provides assisted living and nursing facilities for elderly and disabled adults. The facility is operated by the New River Valley Community Services on behalf of its member jurisdictions, Montgomery County, Pulaski County, and the city of Radford. Fairview Home Board has approved the expansion of the area that they leased from Pulaski County to support a park for the residents of the facilities. The rent or lease for this would just be $1 a year for 10 years, and the lease agreement must be approved by member jurisdictions. Dr. Richard Harshberger, who serves as our liaison for the Fairview home and has for many, many years with that, is here this evening. The city attorney has reviewed the lease. Council, do you all have any questions or comments regarding this lease?
No?
Do we have a motion to adopt the lease, ordinance 1807?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Our next ordinance, 1798, is something we've been working on for many, many years, and we're trying to get down to the finish line here. You know, we purchased. Okay. So we do need a second reading for the lease? Okay. Okay, since we had 4 affirmative votes, we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Is there a desire to do so? We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Ordinance 1798 is the transfer of the West Radford Commerce Park to our EDA. We have worked for years to try to get what was known as the old Foundry site. It's an 80-acre site that we have purchased adjacent to Bowling Street and got that in good shape about a year ago, and we are now ready to try to get this transferred over to the EDA. As such, we have a couple of things we have to do. We've had multiple work sessions on this. We need to go on and transfer the property. We are still working with the Department of Environmental Quality on this property, and so we do have a couple things we have to do. We need to schedule a public hearing, and then we need to approve the transfer. Now, these can happen at the July 8th meeting, or council, if you all desire, we could schedule a special meeting prior to that. The soonest we could do that would be 7 days after June 15th, which is the earliest date we can advertise it, correct? So June 15th would be the day we could advertise the public hearing, and we could either schedule a special meeting or we could wait until our July 8th meeting to transfer the property. Now, the good news is the night of or the day of the public hearing, we can also go on and approve the transfer, so we don't have a waiting period after that. What's your pleasure, council?
I think knowing that we can transfer it on the same day would be, I don't know that it'd be necessary to have another special meeting unless you guys wanted to. I'm open either or, as long as it can be done definitively
it's-
at our next July meeting, I'm okay.
So we will then schedule, do we have a motion? Do we need a motion to schedule the public hearing? So may I have a motion to schedule the public hearing?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So Radford has been working through some cash flow issues for about a year now. You all have certainly heard about that. We have been working through this, and we are looking at proposals through Davenport & Company from financial institutions for a revenue anticipation note. So we are paying back the note for fiscal year 2024. So the money that was used to help with cash flow for 2023 and 2024 has, we've got that to pay that back, but that is come due here before July 1st, 2024, and we will still need to have some additional cash flow money available at least through the early months of the new fiscal year that begins July 1st. So having stated that, we have requested the proposals. The funds help bridge the short-term cash flow gaps. The amount is $4 million once again and would be repaid by June 2025, if not sooner. It does not change our tax or utility rates. We've already budgeted for this in our budget for this next year, and we are looking at some pretty decent rates. David, do you have anything you want to add to the revenue anticipation note discussion?
No, just that we got some really good rates. One of the rates is actually better than what we've got now. So Truist was our best provider at 4.47, and you will note that you received a email from attorney that the date is the only thing that changed on it. We moved
Right.
it to June 30th rather than the 15th.
Right. Council, do you all have any questions? Well, I'll just make a brief statement. You know, this is not something that we have wanted to do. This has certainly been a stressor for all of us. It has been misconstrued throughout the city. This is something that helps us as we work through some cash flow. What we're trying to do is build up our reserves to a high enough level to where we have cash early in the budget season to handle things like the debt on McCarg School, the debt on Bell Heath, and other requirements that we need to pay. We've also been struggling as we move through with the electric costs. We made some adjustment to that in our most recent budget plan for this next year as we establish taxes and rates. That's going to help us move forward with this. But understand that I think every one of us up here, everyone that works with our city government is really stressed that we are needing to go down this process to have this revenue anticipation note and want to get it paid off as quickly as possible and get beyond this. I know this has kept me up. I know it's kept up David and everybody else, that it is difficult with some of the times we've been through to be able to have the revenue available at the times we need it and to make sure that we're continuing to be fiscally responsible throughout this community. This is where we are, and we are moving forward with this. This is not a bankruptcy for the city. This is not the city's broke and having to borrow money just to pay bills. That's not what this is. This helps us deal with a short-term cash flow issue. Are there any other questions, comments, or thoughts?
Are we, I think that our plan was to hopefully be able to pay $2 million of that around December. Is that what we're shooting for?
Anything extra that we have, if we can pay some of it in September, October, whatever,
Right.
we're going to start, make sure it's gone by next year.
And I do think it's important as we go through that process to be able to have those talks maybe at our meetings, keep the public updated as they'll, you know, are obviously interested in that. So I think just keeping us, and then by us keeping the electric updated with the process will be helpful too, with where we're at.
Your highest revenue producers are, of course, December and June, and that's why we want to try to make sure that the payments coincide with those, with the interest and all. So with this lower interest payment, this is going to be good, and hopefully this is wiped out by the time we get to this point next year. Or soon.
And to Seth's point, I do agree. I think it makes sense if each month, maybe each meeting, but each month definitely, we talk about where we are, if we were able to set aside 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, whatever it is, that we can kind of say, okay, this is where we think we are now, and then as we get a little further along, we can get to that so that hopefully when we get to where we can make a payoff, we can do part of it maybe in December, part of it in June, maybe get all of it done before. You know, the good news is our revenues are strong. It's just timing of having that money available has been tricky, and we used a lot of our reserves to keep the burden low on our citizens the last 3 or 4 years to try to do the things that we needed to do. So I get how challenging it all is. Council, do we have a motion to adopt Ordinance 1806?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Will you call the roll, Jenny?
Yes.
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 Yes. And we did hear 4 affirmative votes, so we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We will keep you updated on this. Trust me that this is one of the bigger issues that I think we've all been thinking about. You know, one of the goals for us as a city is to have a definitely robust and sustainable economy. We're working toward that, building the revenues we need to invest in our schools, to invest in our parks and quality of life, to keep things moving forward for our citizens. So we're going to continue to do that, and we will keep you posted as to our progress. Council members, we have a number of boards and commissions that some people are coming due on, and that some people have expressed an interest in. I'm going to pull up my list here real quick. I'd like it if we could. Can we discuss all of them and then just approve in bulk? Would that be okay? So we don't have to go through and do a motion and approval on each one?
Sure.
Thank you all for being here this evening. It's good to see you. Get my list out. Hold on. So for our Agency on Aging, we have 2 members whose terms are up, Sally Ann Stapleton as our regular member, and Robin Troxel, who is our alternate. Sally Ann, Anna is interested in another term. Robin is not. Do we have another interested citizen who might serve as an alternate for the Agency on Aging? We don't have to have that tonight, but that's one we will need to keep looking for. So we will just put that out there. If you would like to serve as an alternate member for our Agency on Aging, please let us know. For Beautification and Forestry Commission, Matt Close and Peggy Huber are both, their terms are up, but they are both interested in another term. Economic Development, Abram Williams' term is up, as is Justin Mosby. They are both interested in another term. Bruce Chase, his term is up, but he is, I think, interested in stepping down. Is that correct, Jenny? He's done with the number. Yeah. So he's done with that. I understand Barbara Turk, who is a local businesswoman, has expressed interest, and if that pleases council, we can slot her into the EDA.
Yes.
Does that sound good?
I think
Okay.
that's a great choice.
For the Recreation Commission, have we heard anything back from Catherine Katrupi? Did you hear anything from her?
I'll follow up with Greg too, because I do think I have a couple people that might be on the verge of being interested, so I'll circle back to that by next meeting.
Okay, and same thing with Brittany Osborne. She said she's not interested in another term, so we will need another name for that. For the Building Code of Appeals, A.B. Williams is interested in another term, as is Chris Quessenberry. If it pleases council, we can include both of them. For the Joint Commission, Robert Towle is interested in another term. His term is up, but he's interested in being our city rep again. If that sounds good, we will keep him in that role.
Did he actually reach out and this time and?
Okay. So he's not been getting the emails?
I think this will be a side discussion for later.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Okay.
okay, well, that's good.
As our council rep, do you want to hold on that for now, or do you want to move forward with that role?
I would like to hold on it, actually.
We can do that, and we can revisit these in July or
Okay.
later if needed.
Thank you.
For New River Community College, Chris Calfee is serving as our representative. His term is up. He is interested in another term. Tasha Moser, we didn't hear anything from her, so I don't know if she is still interested. But we could move forward with Chris in that role if you all are interested. Yep. Social Services Board, we have not heard from Jessica Meyer. Has she been active as far as you're aware?
I'm gonna, let me
You
double
can
check.
check, okay. Sure.
It's
Although
tough.
I'm pleased we have a lot of folks on the list. We do have roles we need to fill, but we've got a lot of people here who are willing to serve and have served, and that's a good thing. For the Board of Zoning Appeals, Tracy Howard's term is up. He is interested in another term. Does that work okay for council?
Yes.
Okay. For the Jail Authority, Bill Fleischer and Don Goodman are both up, and they're both interested in another term, with Don being our alternate. Does that sound good to council?
Yes.
Okay. And the New River Community Action, Gina Ray is interested in another term if that pleases council. So what I will do is say, I would like to make a motion that we adopt the citizen appointment slate other than the alternate for the Agency on Aging, the Recreation Commission, both positions, the City University Joint Commission, and the Social Services Board. Does that please? Oh, and the one New River Community College slot. Yes, thank you very much. Council, do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We will revisit these other positions. We'll have a discussion with those folks that need to be reached out to, and we will move through all of that. All right. Okay, a little more good business. The Provident Resource Group, Radford Properties LLC, has requested a reinsurance of up to $40,000 in revenue bonds from the city of Radford. These bonds have supported the development, construction, financing, furnishing, and related equipment purchases associated with the 88,000 square foot, 124 room hotel and 4,000 square foot Conference Center. The project is located in the 600 block of Tyler Avenue. Provident Group is a nonprofit organization established in the state of Georgia as a 501c3 to advance education in its charitable mission. The original bond was issued in March of 2021. The reissue of the bond will assist with peer review and rating. Mike, I have a question for you. Do Seth and I need to read our disclosure statements as a part of this, since it is related to the hotel? Okay. I'll have to pull mine up. Yeah, I don't know if you've got yours handy or not. Well, I can do that. So I am an employee of Radford University. I make more than $5,000. I understand that the university has loaned $2 million to the hotel for construction. There is a relationship between the university and the Radford University Foundation, and as such, I have an interest in the project. However, I am a member of an organization or institution as well and can serve fairly on this subject matter.
I was previously the payroll agent for our CPA firm, handled it for the Radford Foundation, so I had a conflict of interest, so I will be abstaining from this vote.
Okay. So the project and related bonds promote economic development. They do not constitute a debt or pledge of the faith of the credit of the city of Radford, nor does it obligate the city to pay the bonds. The EDA held a public hearing on May 23rd, 2024, and there were no objections. The EDA approved a resolution supporting the revenue bond and will get an annual 1% service fee from the bond holder. This has been reviewed by our city attorney, and we need to have a resolution of support. Council members, do you all have any questions? I know, right? Okay. So I need to correct what we were saying. So we're requesting a reinsurance of up to $40 million, but the bond amount says $30 million in the document, correct? Right.
Couple of years by which there would be principal-only payments with no interest payments. And then regular payments would come in at that point in time, and there would be a makeup for those payments that were not paid towards interest over the term of the loan. And I don't think there's any extension in the term of the loan. It's the same term. I think the benefit to the EDA is they get to collect 0.1% administrative fee for issuing the bonds. So it does generate revenue for the EDA, doesn't constitute a debt for the city or the EDA.
Okay. Council members, do you all have any questions? Do we have a motion to support the resolution for the reinsurance of up to $30 million in revenue bonds from the city of Radford?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? Jenny, will you call the roll?
Yes.
Yes.
Abstain. Okay. Council members, we're getting a lot of business done here, and one piece of business we have hoped would happen for a number of years is to have some additional potential internet providers here in the city of Radford. So Radford has received a request from Comcast to operate a franchise in the city. It is to conduct, maintain, repair, replace, and operate a system of cable network services and transmission within the city along roadways, easements, alleyways, and on public grounds. The agreement term is for a period of 10 years and includes a pole attachment agreement. Now, a couple of things with this. These are non-exclusive franchises, so we are not replacing current providers with Comcast, should we consider this franchise. This allows both to operate in the city, which is a really positive thing because it can provide competition for quality of service, price, and everything else. And it is allowable within the agreement that we already have in place with Shentel, who is our primary service provider in the city of Radford. Council members, do you all have any questions? We need to do two things. We need to advertise a public hearing on the franchise, as well as seek proposals from anyone else interested in providing the service, and move forward from there. Do we have a motion to advertise?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, Chantel, so do we feel good about them staying here in regards to competition or not?
Well, we have,
I want to make sure we have both internet providers.
yeah, we do have a contract with them goes through this time next year, so they will also be going through this process next year.
Okay.
But doing one doesn't preclude another, and, you
I
know,
know
it
that,
could be
yeah.
that if someone comes in, they may stay, they may not stay. We just don't know. It's not
Right.
pushing somebody out, but,
I understand, but
Yeah.
it is competition, so.
Sure.
Yeah. Which is good.
yeah. Any other questions or comments?
And Comcast has been, they're in Blacksburg, Christiansburg now, and they've been moving in this direction, so assume that based on their visit here back in the winter.
January.
Yeah,
January.
sometime when they were asking us to consider it, so all this is doing is putting it out there for them.
Right.
And then they've got to take those next steps if they truly want to have the franchise here.
Okay. Thank you.
When is the soonest we would want to have a public hearing? Would we want to do it at the July meeting?
Yeah, July 8th.
Okay. So, council members, do we have a motion to schedule a public hearing on July 8th?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And council members, do we have a motion to seek proposals from others interested in the franchise to provide this service?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah, and on that, Mike and I chatted, you can have your public hearing on the 8th, and if you're not quite ready, there may be some more information they're providing us, so that ordinance itself may not be into your August meeting. So just
And
know
that's
that
fine,
if you
yeah.
just have a public hearing, you've got a couple of months to think about it and get some other questions answered.
Absolutely.
RFP or that emergency proposals might be a little further out than let's say the public hearing.
And that's fine, because these are non-exclusive franchises. For those that may be listening, they still have to go through us to be able to use our poles, to be able to operate in the city of Radford with the wired connection, but it's a non-exclusive franchise. So we could have multiple. It could be more than just two, if that's what ended up making the market bear. So that works, so that's a positive.
And at no cost to the city.
At no cost to the city. In fact, we'll make a little bit of money, not a whole lot, but I think the bigger opportunity is to have good competition and good service for our citizens. And that's what we're hoping will happen with all of this, that they'll have choices, and choice typically breeds better quality, better price, better everything. So that's a good thing. Council member, our last item under new business is to look at our meeting schedule for this next year. Now, we have single meetings during the months of July and August 2024, November and December 2024. Now, those two single meetings are because Thanksgiving week would fall.
Let me make a quick note, that November meeting is on a Tuesday.
Okay.
November, because
Veterans Day on Monday. Okay. That's fine. I was just going to say, we have Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays in November and December that make it difficult to schedule a second meeting. We have 2 meetings a month every other month, other than May and June 2025. I wanted to ask council, is it better for us just to go on with this schedule and wait and see if we need to schedule additional meetings during some of these months, or to plan for additional meetings? As we've had so much going on, we've sometimes needed additional time so that people mark it on their calendars and then come back. What would you prefer? Just go with this schedule, knowing that that may mean an extra May meeting or June meeting? I know we had budget meetings anyway, but I just wanted to see what was most convenient for everybody.
So I would say, let's keep it as is, and we all have very busy schedules, and when we get closer to the date, we may have other obligations. We may need to all kind of work around like we always do. So I think.
Would you prefer
it'd be
that instead of
better to
scheduling a
just
meeting and just
keep it.
canceling it?
Yes.
Okay,
I was thinking just leave this.
Yes, that's what I'm
Okay.
agreeing with. Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Leave this, and if we need to add, like we always do, we'll add based on what we all have going on at the time.
So we will make a note that the November 12th meeting will be on a Tuesday. And again, putting all of these on our city website. We're working to post all of these with the agendas on our social media, as well as stream them on our YouTube page so that people can keep up with them. There will be plenty of additional meetings between December and April of next year as we work through budget and have a lot of other discussions, so there will be a lot happening with that as well.
So
Council-
don't be sad, there's plenty meetings for you to come to.
Council, do we have a motion for our meeting schedule for 2024-25?
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, David, what do you have for us this evening?
Actually,
Go back to Mike.
since you're on the topic of meetings.
Yes.
I did speak, after council voted on the resolution concerning the bond with the Provident Group. I spoke briefly with our bond counsel on this because, you know, with just the 3 votes, you weren't able to waive the second reading.
Right.
And I was concerned about, will that fit within their timeline to close on the bond? And they're supposed to close on the bond by the end of June.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess I see 2 options here. I guess if council were okay with it, I guess, and Mayor, you were okay with it, you could consider voting on just the procedural issue of whether to waive the second reading, because then there would be 4 of you available to vote.
Okay.
If not, I don't know what else to do other than hold a special meeting just for the second reading.
Okay. So,
I was gonna say, that's probably the easiest. I was thinking if we did do a special meeting, we could knock out the public hearing for the transfer, but that seems to make a little more sense.
well, let me ask, what's the pleasure of council? Would the intention of council be to dispense with the second reading had we have 4 affirmative votes? Do you want a second reading on this, or would it have been the intention of council to dispense with a second reading had we had 4 affirmative votes?
I would say we could dispense with it if we had the 4 confirmative.
Okay. So the will of the council is to not have a second reading, and as such, we can vote on that procedural piece. So council, do we have a motion to dispense with a second reading on our resolution to reissue up to $30 million in bonds for Provident Resource Group?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So you feel like that covers us?
I think that covers us, and one other thing I was going to ask council to reconsider, 'cause while I had stepped out while you were discussing the Comcast matter, is that I would ask that council, schedule the public hearing on that for the August meeting rather than the July meeting.
Why?
And it's because it's a matter of, one, I need to review the Comcast agreement as well as the pole attachment agreement. I'm sure there'll be some things I will suggest changing to them. There will be some back and forth between myself and legal counsel for Comcast. And the way this process works, you guys have seen it before, like the most recent example would have been with the U.S. Cellular matter and the water tank, where we had to actually advertise a copy of the agreement and actually advertise for bids. It's not exclusive, offering it to others. And that has to be published once a week or advertised once a week for 2 successive weeks. So in other words, it's not just a public hearing on whether to enter into the agreement. It's actually a public hearing in which you consider or you give others the opportunity, other service providers, to submit a bid. And I think it will take longer than the time that we would have available to do this by the first meeting in July.
So do we have a motion to move the public hearing for the franchise consideration to the August meeting?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
This gets back to your question, because then that gives an opportunity for anybody else that wants to come in. They've got plenty of time now to do that.
Well, but even at the franchise public hearing, we don't have to make a decision on anything at that point in time. That's just a public hearing to talk it through, right? I mean, that's,
Well, normally what we do is we set it up towards, that's the date by which they're required to anybody interested in the franchise is to submit their bid. And that's when you go through that litany of questions and receive bids and announce what we have received up to that point in time.
So if someone wanted to submit an additional bid, but not prior to the August meeting, would we consider that at that point, or would we have already moved past that?
No, in other words, we will be issuing a notice that will be in the nature of an advertisement for bids.
Okay.
And it will provide for, of course, Comcast to submit, but other service providers could also choose to submit.
But to that point, if we wanted to consider that in the additional proposals in months after that, we could, correct? We could continue to keep this, since it's non-exclusive, we could
Meaning
continue to
if in
keep this
3
going.
months down the road, someone expresses some interest, could we consider them?
Yes.
Okay.
You just
I just wanted to clarify on
You just end up
that.
having to do the whole process again. In fact, you will have other service providers that are already providing services within the city.
Correct.
Whose agreement with the city may expire sometime next year in 2025.
Right.
And we'll go through this same process again.
Well, that was my point. I wanted to make sure we weren't doing something that would truncate the ability of others to do that, since it is non-exclusive. Okay. I just wanted to confirm
But
that.
you're required each time you do receive this request to open it up to anybody that might wish to also. make a
Absolutely.
bid.
Okay. David, what do you have?
Actually, I only have one thing. We've got the concert on Saturday night.
Yep.
That's it.
The Drifters right out here on Glencoe Field. I hope everybody comes out and participates. Seth, what do you have today?
Just a couple things. I was honored to be able to on behalf of council and Radford, to be able to represent us at the Memorial Day service at the Veterans Cemetery in Pulaski. It was a great service, and it was an honor and a privilege to be there. And I hate that the Bissett Park got rained out that day, but I know Glencoe was able to go on. So it was a lot of good things going around this community and in the New River Valley to honor those people, and it was a pleasure to be there. This morning, all of us were able to tour the high school, so I appreciate them taking the time to show us around, and I look forward to talking with them and working in conjunction with them on capital projects that inevitably will come up over the future. So setting the groundwork for that and talking to them and being able to check that out, I appreciate everybody taking their time to make that happen. I know that we've discussed tonight and on many other occasions the Commerce Park. I know we're all excited about that transfer. I truly believe it could be a game changer for Radford. I think it can be a job creator, an energy consumer, and a revenue generator for the city. So I'm excited to get to work. I know the EDA is ready to get to work to get us to a Tier 3. So I'm looking forward to working with them, working with council and city staff, and really, hopefully, bringing something to this site that has sat vacant for too long. So I'm glad that for all the work that's been done and that's about to be done. Looking forward to the 4th of July celebration. I truly think that Radford has the best around, and I know how hard the rec department works for that and all the work that goes into it. So I know that I'll be there. I hope that all of you all will as well. And I'll just end by saying I know that in this community there was a lot of sad news this week, and it just reminds you to hug your friends and family a little closer and thinking about the Cabell family. I know a lot of people here are, and Kenny worked for the city for many years, so keeping them in my thoughts and prayers, and that's all I got.
Thank you, Seth. Jesse, what do you have?
My moment of silence was dedicated to Jeremy Compton, who was one of our firefighters and EMT members. I know there are a lot of people in our community that are hurting with this loss. Certainly, I was very impressed with the man's integrity and optimism to the very end. So I extend all of my condolences to everyone that might be struggling through that time. Just a quick thank you to Gary Harris again. I appreciate that he always comes here and he always leads us in the pledge, and the fact that he does look around our community, and if he finds a way to celebrate the country or the veterans, that he always takes the lead to make sure that that opportunity is recognized. So just a little extra thank you to Gary. The American Legion, I know I spend a lot of time talking about them, but y'all know they're dear to my heart, that building and those folks. We have a lot of photos, artifacts, plaques that still remain there. We've had a little bit of trouble getting it from that basement to Glencoe. We are close. I spoke with the commander today, and I told him that we do have some volunteers that will help us categorize and protect this, because it's so very important, and that basement is not an ideal location for these very, very valuable items. So with that, I think I'm going to pick them up tomorrow and deliver them to Glencoe. I know it's been a while. It's been a journey. I think they're finally going to give them to me. And what we're hoping to do in the future is to have a show at Glencoe where we're honoring all of our veterans, the ones that are deceased as well as the ones that are living. So look for that. We're
The
getting closer.
history of that building, which is good.
Which is amazing,
Yeah.
yes. And the building, I am a little bit closer to getting the electricity fixed. Mr. Morris, an electrician from our community, will be retiring from Virginia Tech, I think after 44 years, something close to that. Huge congratulations to him, and as soon as he is done next month, I will be walking him directly to the Legion, where he's going to be doing the electrical work for us for free. Kudos to him as well. We had identified a lot of things that that building needed, either revamped, redone, replaced, and he has a great relationship with State Electric, and they did donate and deliver all the items at this point that we've identified. So thank you to both of those parties. We always are trying to follow what the ACE program is doing, and I was very honored to celebrate an event on campus where the show Buzz for Good, which is featured on PBS, highlighted the ACE program. And I see several people that were there that day celebrating too. So just wonderful work that the ACE program's doing, and if you can catch that that little PBS special, I certainly would. It's a feel good, but it just shows what community can do when we put our minds to it. Another community legend, Robert Lindbergh, I'm sure you guys have seen. He just received the 2024 Builders Award recipient for Division I AAA Athletic Director Association. So kudos to him, lifelong legacy with that. CPMT board, we were audited by the State Executive Council, which is typical. We have some improvements we're going to make, but overall we did exceptionally well. Some data that's coming out in general about CPMT, we're looking at year in review, and to give everyone an idea of what we spend per child in our community compared to other communities around us, I thought this would be important to note. In Radford, we spend about $25,000 per child. Montgomery spends about $16,000. Floyd, $35,000. Giles, $18,000. And Pulaski, $20,000. Most of our ages served are 13 to 17 and 7 to 12. Chamber meeting. Expect a casino-themed gala. Mark your calendars. November 2nd will be when we're holding that. So, yeah, everybody, it's a good time. It's a good time, so mark your calendars. Another neat thing that is coming out of the chamber is they are collecting plastic bags, and with those, they're making Trex benches that they're putting all around the community. They've collected enough that there are now going to be 4 more benches. So if there's anyone or a place in the community that you guys can identify that you think would need a bench, let us know. Some places that you can donate those plastic bags to make sure it goes to our Community Trex program. Sherwin-Williams, Tuck Clinic, Ameriprise, Food Lion, Ballpark Signs, and I'm sorry, there's one more. I'll have to get back with you on that one. But, so I know we all have 1 million of them. Please give them to one of these places and you'll see some more benches around the community. I attended an open house for the New River Community Action at 206 3rd Street. I did grab some extra brochures because they have such a comprehensive approach to care. I wanted everyone with interest to know that they're out front, so feel free to grab those. And again, I think what a wonderful tour it was of the middle school and high school. It's so wonderful to see what the the current school board and past school boards and all the administrators and the community have been able to do just in the years that I've been off the school board. I am just blown away by all the improvements. And I think I was exceedingly surprised at how much they had accomplished. And I'm looking forward, they gave us a little tick list of things they're going to be working on, and I'm looking forward to seeing those things done and being a major part of that. So that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Kelly, what do you have?
A lot of the same things that you guys did. You know, thoughts and prayers going out to everybody that's been lost recently. Seth, your family. The fire and EMS team that also lost family. It's seems to be a lot since the last meeting, so just sending all my thoughts and prayers to everyone doing that. Thank you again to Gary Harris. He's always helping to ensure the city's, patriotic needs are met. So he always does a great job. Thank you to Greg for telling us about the 4th of July celebration. I love the new addition of the music playing during the show. I don't think it's any secret that we have the best show in the New River Valley, and I know it'll be the same this year. And thank you to everyone that came out to help us walk through the high school and Dalton. It really is an amazing campus. Thank you to Gloria for coming out to walk with us from the school board, and to the superintendent and Coach Wade and Mr. Keister and everybody else that was there. There was a whole big team walking around, so it was really nice to be able to go and see everything and all the changes since I was there, which was not too long ago, I like to say. And I think that's all I have. I don't think that I have anything else. We missed our meetings last time, so we've got amphitheater meeting coming up and Joint Commission meeting coming up, so we didn't have those last time because everybody was busy. Congratulations to all the graduates that made it and everybody that's finished school. I think that's all.
Thank you. Bobby, what do you have?
Well, I went for a bike ride over the weekend and thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm out of shape, but went down through Bitsy Park and down the trail down to RU and talked to quite a few people. But it was, for me personally, it was a time of reflection. I've been out of town, and you go to other cities, and they just don't add up. I come back here, and landscaping, everything's crisp, everything's mowed. Flowers and everything's well taken care of. And I go to other cities, I see the opposite. I see a lot of garbage. but the people I spoke to, I would stop on a bench, take a few pictures here and there. And the people I spoke to, just the nicest people. And everybody that I spoke to, they are not originally from here, but they came here through word of mouth, and they ended up here. One lady has been here for 9 years, came from North Carolina. Two other ladies, neither one of them from here, but they were down Bitsy Park handing out pamphlets, and got to talk with them for a little bit. So it just goes to show you, a person's reputation arrives before they do. Likewise, the city's reputation, it's the same way. So it's out there, and it's a good reputation. So I'm thankful. That's it.
Thank you, Bobby.
Yep.
I was drawing a blank, and that's why I couldn't remember what else I wanted to say. Plug for the concert series Saturday, but then also plug for the farmers market. But I spoke to an individual that was very upset that the signs have not been updated and changed to correct the time frame and the times of the farmers market around the city. I know we talked about that long ago, but she's still saying they are not corrected.
If there's any left, we've taken every old sign down. We have not put anything new up because with the website and the number of people that are coming, the signs just get dated as soon as they're up because they change times, that kind of thing. So we have not had any.
I think that she mentioned that there was a sign somewhere near the interstate, exit 105, somewhere around there that was not
It's one of the, is it one of the directional wayfinding signs that has like
It's the brown,
Riverway
maybe.
and all that?
Town, it doesn't
Yeah.
take you to this site right here, so it's not.
Can we take that one down?
Can we maybe look and make sure that there's not another one up West
I mean,
End?
Jenny and Timmy and I, we've all three looked, so if there's another one out.
Is it like a permanent sign, like a street sign, not one of their?
Yeah, she was expressing that the information was wrong and that the color was not eye-catching enough. And I thought that it may be just, like informational state signs are brown, depending on what color in the event or whatever. So can we just check on that again?
Yeah, our
Thank
farmer's
you.
market signs were brown, and they had
Yeah,
the
they're brown.
errors in locations. I'm not sure, trying to think where else. The only one that's left is the structure on Norwood Street, on Main Street. It has farmer's market written
Right.
across it. We've got a little bit of issue trying to figure out how you take that off, because it's gonna leave an impression of.
I have an
farmer's
idea.
Market, so.
Okay,
For that.
That's the only one that we know of that's left, and that's in the Virginia Street parking lot where it
Yes.
used to be originally. When you look at that building that's got kind of the fake storefront, it has farmer's market across the top of it. That's the only one, but we'll check. 'Cause
Okay.
And if you all see it, send me a note, because obviously we're not seeing it.
taking them down immediately after.
Because we went out and took down.
Okay. Thank you, I appreciate it.
And we are, something that you all know, a lot of signs, sometimes they just take away, so we've been trying to remove excess parking signs, excess anything that we've had. So if you see a sign that's not pertinent, the wayfinding signs are very old. They're gonna come down when the new wayfinding signs are established in the coming months. So, that's the only thing that, we just don't need, you don't need a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen, no parking signs on Tyler Avenue. It's a highway, so those kind of things we've been trying to remove. It also helps us to keep from having to mow around on the excess clutter and those kind of things. So if you see something out there, you say, wonder why that sign's there, just remind us, because I bet we've got 10,000 signs.
But instead of deciding to update the farmer's market signs, we just decided to take
Just
them
take 'em
down.
Yeah, there were too many, and since locations changed, there are a lot of reasons not to, because everybody comes to that location, and there's, the websites, I don't know how you can get more of a crowd. We got, they
No, it's
found it.
great. It's
crowd.
great, and
So-
it's a very,
But
Yeah.
that maybe we can get, when we do the multiple, right, the multiple ratcheted sign, to just put farmer's market with an arrow, and maybe make it so at some time in the future that they do change it, that it can be removed, but
Yeah,
at
that would
least
get-
so,
That would be appropriate for your wayfinding.
yeah,
yes.
so we could do that. We could still have some indicator to promote it.
And they've got several of the little stick-in-the-ground
Yeah.
signs scattered
Yeah,
around.
and that's perfect, but I just think if this is gonna be their home and they're comfortable with it and we're all comfortable, it'd be nice to get something a little more permanent for them.
Yes.
They work pretty hard out there.
they do. Okay, just following up.
Yep, if you see it too, let me know, because we're trying to figure out where else it would be. Thank you.
Thank you. We had a lot of important things during our meeting tonight. Definitely, I wanted to reiterate what everybody else has said about our tour of the schools. That was an important element that we tried to put together, and I'm thankful to Adam and everybody who participated with that to show us what had been done. We wanted to get eyes on projects to see for ourselves, what's been accomplished, what still needs to be done, working with our friends on the school board to make sure we get the system in good shape. I think the headline that I got as we were looking at it is we've done amazing things, and our schools are actually in pretty good shape. There's always going to be something that needs to be done. I don't care how much you do and how much, whether it's brand new or 50 years old, there's going to be needing something at every location. But we've invested around $8 million outside the McCarg project, and of course, once you add that in, you're up in the $24-25 million range with projects just in the last 5 or 6 years. I think that's wonderful. That comes from grant money, which we are so thankful for, federal and state and city funds, as well as private funds. And I did want to take a mention to talk about that. Multiple foundations and multiple individuals who have given to improve the high school, the intermediate school, and our other schools. We are so thankful to them, so appreciative of their time, talent, and treasure that has gone into improving that, and we just wanted to say a big thank you. We are going to put together a little statement to kind of jointly, as a council and school board, show what has been done, because I think it's important that all citizens know this is where we are, this is where we're going to be going, and we're going to be working through this process together to talk about these are the capital improvements of the next 5 to 8 to 10 years that we're going to try to chart a course for. So I think that'll be a positive for everybody on that. The West Radford Commerce Parks is still on our minds. You know, if we had our druthers, this would have been done 5 or 6 years ago. We are where we are with it. Hopefully July 8th, we'll get it transferred to the EDA, and they will take it to the next level forward. If you have a question about that property, about the plans for the future, about anything we're doing with economic development, ask us, but also come to that meeting on July 8th and participate in the public hearing. We want people to be a part of this process and to understand what we have available as an opportunity and what we all need to do. Bobby, to your point, I really liked what you had to say. You know, we are ambassadors for this locality and trying to help people know the wonderful things that are happening in Radford. We absolutely have our challenges. We have things that we need to work on. We have things that we are trying to improve. But I think again, the headline is that life is very positive here in the city of Radford. Sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees, and we need to look around and see all the wonderful things that we have while we work on our challenges. And doing that together makes a lot of sense. Hope to see everybody on Saturday night out at Glencoe. Hope to see everybody at the Farmers Market every Saturday morning, and then at the 4th of July on July 4th in Bissett Park. And with that, we will accept a motion to adjourn. So moved. Motion, do we have a second? Second. All in favor say good night. Good night. Well, thanks. We had lots of things we had to do.